Everyone, so today I would like to explain Chapter 19, Teaching Grammar and Vocabulary from Teaching by Principle books by Douglas Brown. So let's get started. About grammar. Here are three dimensions of grammar. The form dimensions refers to observable structural components such as phonemes, graphemes, inflectional morphemes, and syntactic patterns. And meaning refers to the semantic level of the structural items, including lexical and grammatical meaning. The use dimension accounts for meanings of utterances across different contexts and cohesions in discourse. And about grammar and discourse. Sales Murcia and Olstein 2014 define discourse as an instance of spoken and written language with describable internal relationship of form and meaning. That relate coherently to an external communicative function or purpose and a given audience or interlocutor in a particular context. And then emergent grammar. This is a notion of grammaring helps us move away from the usual traditions of teaching grammar as a body of knowledge and instead treats grammar as a skill to develop. And then approaches to form-focused instruction. The form-focused instruction is any planned or incidental instructional activity that is intended to induce language learners to pay attention to linguistic form. Uh, First, about the explicit presentation of forms. Explicit instructions attempts to help learners develop metalinguistic awareness of a rule that can be carried out deductively or inductively. And then implicit presentation of forms. In an implicit approach to grammar instruction, the teacher doesn't employ structural analysis or technical terms to explain the linguistic rules. Instead, the target form is used in the utterances made to communicate with the students. And then focus on form. A focus on form approach attempts to induce learners incidental learning by drawing their attention to target forms while they are engaged in communicative activities. And then feedback on error. It is desirable to employ a variety of feedback options such as recasting, self-correction, and metalinguistic explanation. And then a lexicogrammatical approach. The term lexicogrammar, originally coined by Michael A. Halliday, represents a view that lexis and grammar are two inherently connected parts of a single entity and should not be treated separately. Okay, and then we moved into the principles for teaching grammar. All three dimensions of grammar, form, meaning, and use, should be emphasized. And then take a lexicogrammatical approach to presenting new linguistic items to students. And then learners need to have the opportunity to practice and use forms in communicative tasks. And then tend to both input-based or comprehensions and output-based production, grammar and vocabulary, and many more. And then we moved into the grammar techniques. The first is charts, objects, maps, and drawings. There is always a useful place for a chart, for example, that requires students to notice and check off certain forms. Likewise, objects or picture of objects, maps, and other illustrations help to make focus on grammatical forms somewhat concrete. And then dialogues and conversation. For over half a century, dialogues have been successfully used to focus learners on form and meaning simultaneously. A conversation is presented to students. They can listen to it on an audio recording, read it, repeat it to get the flow of the conversation, practice it with different partners, and eventually expand on it to share their own vacation plans. And then input enhancement. A more recent common technique involves highlighting or boldfacing certain target grammatical forms in a reading text or stressing, or slowing down or using hand gesture, uh, or stressing certain forms when speaking. And then input flood. This may trigger syntactic priming, as speakers tend to produce a previously spoken or heard structure. And then input processing. It is important that the text used for input remain reasonably natural and that the learners make the necessary connections between form and function in authentic context of L2 used. And then Dicto Plus. Dicto Plus is a task-based project designed to help L2 learners internalize certain grammatical elements that are built into a text. And then teaching vocabulary. Below are some guidelines for the communicative treatment of vocabulary instructions. First, allocate specific class time to vocabulary learning. Help students to learn vocabulary in context, engage in unplanned vocabulary teaching, and encourage students to develop word learning strategies. Okay, so that's all about chapter 19. Thank you for your attention and see you.